Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk about this story that came out this week about Harry and Meghan back in this very woke organisation that considers boyhood to be some sort of threat to our society, apparently. And it basically shows how extreme they're becoming now. As members of the royal family, who they may not be working royals, but they're very much still connected to the royal family, especially when it suits them. They are now getting more and more into politics and being very blatant about their political affiliations, to the point where I don't really see how the royal family could continue to keep that connection with them and not be dragged into politics too. It's just going to cause more and more division, more and more friction in terms of how people perceive the royal family. And, it just reeks of hypocrisy, because recently Harry and Meghan were pretty happy about using the titles for their children, Prince and Princess, which are not, gender neutral titles. They're very gender specific. So again, it's like you want your daughter to be princess, you want your son to be prince, but you're back in an organisation that doesn't believe in gender roles, doesn't believe in traditional family, apparently. Apparently, traditional family is something that's nefarious, according to organisations like this. I'm going to read the article and react to a GB News video. And bear with me, my voice sounds a bit funny because I'm getting over a cold and my right ear is feels completely blocked. So I don't even know, if I'm shouting. So let's get into the article. So Dan Wooton, he's saying, by backing a group that believes boyhood should be fluid and families have become gender factories, Prince Harry and Meghan have just joined the war on men plaguing our society. Their woke extremism is dangerous. Given their proclivity to aligning with woke movements, it was probably only a matter of time before Harry and Meghan joined the gender extremists. But today's revelation that the Sussexes are throwing their weight behind an organisation who describe the very concept of boyhood as fluid and socially constructed in an out-and-out attack on ordinary families is terrifying nonetheless. As the couple's true agenda is gradually revealed, it's becoming obvious that destroying the British royal family is only the start of their ambition of a hard-left Californian revolution of Western society. A big part of that agenda is erasing so-called toxic masculinity, which is slowly morphing into a general war on men and boys, plaguing our society. Remember when they were expecting their first child and Vanity Fair said that Meghan had told friends that they planned to raise their children gender neutral or something to that effect. And a spokesperson for the palace denied those reports. Remember, they were still working royals, so it wasn't a good look coming up with this gender ideology, aligning themselves with, leftist concepts as working members of the royal family. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was testing the waters. And that was a few years ago. So now, things are even more extreme and it's kind of getting more and more out of hand. So, now that they're not part of the royal family, they can be as extreme as they want to be now. And clearly that's what they're doing. And that's what's kind of concerning about this organisation. They're targeting boys. And it's not to empower boys. It's to suppress their masculinity. They want boys to adopt their idea of masculinity, not the traditional idea of masculinity. I mean, is Harry a good representation of masculinity in their eyes? Probably. Somebody who just whines like a baby. That sort of masculinity is okay. But, being a man who is a leader, who's a provider, who's a protector, that's offensive to them. The couple's Archewell Foundation says it is investing in gender equity via the so-called Global Boyhood Initiative on a guide for promoting gender equity for fostering positive masculinity in boys and men. So far, so woke. Yeah, positive masculinity. So again, their idea of masculinity. The traditional idea of masculinity is toxic, apparently. Let's take a look at this, what Dan's got to say.
The Duke of Duchess of Delusion are back in the headlines after it was revealed that their organisation Archewell is working in partnership with the Global Boyhood Initiative. Now, Harry and Meghan, we know they're no strangers to throwing their weight behind social movements, but the controversy here comes from the extreme woke organisation's chilling views on the gender identity of school kids. So they state that families and schools are gender and heterosexuality factories, and that gender is not tied to sex organs, while encouraging primary school children to question gender norms. This alarming curriculum created by the Pernicious Pressure Group is already being piloted in schools across London, with hopes that it will soon be rolled out throughout the UK. So, Lawrence, I assume you're not surprised to see Harry and Meghan backing a woke pressure group that seems determined to go to war on boys.
Well, no, not at all, because, the richer someone is, usually, the more they talk about equity and rigging the game, which is essentially what this is. But what's so concerning in this report and what they're saying is, while the family is a place of nurturing and support for many children, it can also be where gender and sexuality are regulated and policed, as many interviewees and much research suggests. So essentially they're saying, these spoilt little Sussexes with their horribly divisive agenda, they want the end of the family, Dan. And, that's just absolutely a red line. It should be a red line for anybody in this country. I do wish they'd just stop speaking.
Yeah, basically, traditional family is something to be looked at with suspicion.
Well, I do too. They're also complete hypocrites, Lawrence, because I went back and looked today, given the support of this organisation. Because, by the way, this organisation is slamming parents who celebrate their gender of unborn babies, So if you say, I'm so happy that I'm having a little baby girl or a little baby girl, if you have a gender reveal party or something, you're part of the problem, Lawrence. Well, that was interesting because I went back and checked, and do you remember during the Oprah Winfrey interview in March 2021, Prince Harry announced to the world that he was having a girl. On the birth of Archie, they actually posted a blue picture, and that's terrible for this organisation, of course, because blue is a boy colour, saying it's a boy. So they don't believe it when it comes to their own family. Why are they trying to push it all on us?
Yeah, remember when he called himself he was wearing a girl dad shirt or whatever. What's a girl? We can't define what a woman is, so I doubt you can define what a girl is. People, that are your way inclined, Harry. But yet you call yourself a girl dad, proud girl dad, and kind of excluding the fact that you have a boy. So that was interesting. Usually when a guy calls themselves a girl dad, it's because they don't have any sons. They have all daughters. But anyway, I do wonder if they believe what they promote. Do they actually believe this, or they're just trying to push an agenda? Because like you said, they don't want it for their family, but they want to push the agenda on everybody else. Because this is the sort of thing that creates division. This is the sort of thing that will keep them in the headlines. And that's all they care about. They don't care about bettering society or, strengthening us as a society. They want to strengthen themselves. And that's what these elitists do. As Lawrence said, it's typical of the elite. One rule for them, another for everyone else.
Our kids.
Well, because they are the exact thing that they accuse you of. They'll accuse the whole of Great Britain of being racist or being massively racist themselves. They'll accuse the royal family of being racist while being very racist themselves. They'll accuse, they'll talk about equity, which is essentially rigging of the game, which I've said before. But they don't, they're not equitable. They live in a Montecito mansion worth tens of millions of dollars. It's just so crass and pathetic. And we see what the side effects of this is, which is the tragedy of what's happening to Dylan Mulvaney and this sort of celebration of sexual deviance in society. And us, as a result of equity, we've got to accept the fact that some people are just sexual deviants who want to pretend to be 12-year-old girls. And actually, I think it's probably time the people of this country just turned around and went, yeah, we don't do that here, thanks very much. That's not what we're into. And you go and make another documentary, chaps.
Well, Lawrence has a point, because this Dylan Mulvaney is now going around imitating a 12-year-old girl, going around acting like a child.
I am Eloise. I am 6. I'm a city child. I live at the Plaza which is huge and wonderful and très elegant, especially at Christmas time.
We've seen Leah Thomas, what was revealed about Leah and Leah's partner via social media on Instagram. They posted this, basically indicating that a lot of this stuff is a fetish. So Lawrence definitely has a point, and this is being celebrated. And where is the equity for a young girl participating in sports that has to compete against biological males? Where is the equity for her? They don't care about the equity, for young girls having to compete against people who have an unfair advantage against them. Another thing that I don't like is they basically call traditional family and gender roles, they liken it to white supremacy.
Well, indeed, but one of the most disturbing things, Lawrence, is it was only this announcement which has actually got folk looking into the Global Boyhood Initiative and realising, oh my goodness, Lawrence, it's already infiltrating schools in our country. This pilot scheme is already running. And the thing about the Global Boyhood Initiative is that it sounds very respectable, doesn't it? It sounds as if it supports young boys, but in fact, it wants to completely dismantle anything connected to being a boy.
Well, Dan, I got this email from my school today, from one of my son's schools today, diversity and inclusion. That's what they're into. It's everywhere. Every single parent in this country should be very, very worried about what is being washed into their children's brains. They are teaching this stuff everywhere. Your kid is not safe in school. You need to make sure debrief and unbrainwash your child when they get home from school, because school is now indoctrination. It has nothing to do with education anymore.
Yeah, and that's why Harry and Meghan represent a very dangerous movement. And that's why people like me speak up and do videos about them, because they represent what is very dangerous in our society at the moment, and they are targeting children. Again, didn't Meghan write that book, The Bench? And wasn't it supposed to be about a young boy and the relationship he has with his father? So, when it suits them, they're all happy for gender roles. Like I said, prince and princess titles. They're happy for gender roles when it suits them. But when they're able to, cause division, when they're able to preach at people, when they're able to make a name for themselves, they're happy to support organisations like this. So let me know what you think. Share your thoughts below. Thanks for bearing with me with my voice. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.